Deep into the heart of a desolate forest lay an ancient graveyard forgotten by time itself. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead seemed thin, and the whispers of the departed echoed through the gnarled trees. On a cold moonless night, a group of adventurous teenagers, drawn by tales of haunting and paranormal activity, decided to explore this eerie place. The group comprised 5 friends: Ethan, the skeptic; Sarah, the brave one; Alex, the thrill seeker; Emily, the sensitive; and Mark, the one who believed in the supernatural. Armed with flashlights and the thrill of the unknown, they ventured into the graveyard, their footsteps echoing through the silence. As they wandered among the crumbling tombstones, the air grew colder, and an overwhelming sense of unease enveloped them. Strange shadows danced on the gravestones, and the wind howled eerily through the branches overhead. Sarah tried to brush off the feeling, but even her courage wavered in the face of such palpable dread. As they moved deeper into the graveyard, they stumbled upon an ancient mausoleum, its stone structure bearing the weight of untold secrets. It beckoned to them like a forgotten relic of a dark past. Curiosity getting the better of them, the group decided to explore the mausoleum's depths. The door creaked open, revealing an ominous darkness within. They stepped cautiously, their flashlights illuminating the crypt's cold stone walls. The air inside felt heavy, and an oppressive silence seemed to stretch for eternity. Yet, the allure of discovering what lay hidden within its depths spurred them on. As they ventured further, strange occurrences began to unfold. Footsteps echoed where there were none, and faint whispers echoed through the narrow passageways. Emily, the sensitive one, felt a chilling touch on her shoulder, causing her to gasp in terror. "Did you feel that?" she stammered, her voice trembling. But before anyone could respond, the door slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside the mausoleum. Panic set in, and they pounded on the door, desperately trying to escape. It was futile. The graveyard had no intention of releasing them so easily. With each passing moment, the paranormal activity intensified. Shadows danced along the walls, taking sinister shapes, and the temperature dropped drastically. Unearthly moans filled the air, and the group realized they were not alone. Ghostly apparitions emerged from the darkness, their hollow eyes fixated on the intruders. Ethan, the skeptic, felt his disbelief crumble as he confronted the undeniable reality of the supernatural. Fear gnawed at him, and he clung to his friends, seeking comfort amidst the terror that surrounded them. As they huddled together, the atmosphere became suffocating. The spirits of the dead seemed angry, and a malevolent force engulfed the crypt. The group's flashlight flickered and dimmed, leaving them in near total darkness. In the midst of this chaos, a blood-curdling scream pierced through the air, sending shivers down their spines. Mark had been taken by an unseen force. Panic and terror consumed the group as they frantically searched for their missing friend. But the mausoleum's layout seemed to shift and change, disorienting them further. Their footsteps echoed through twisted corridors that led nowhere, as if the graveyard itself toyed with their fate. Sarah, the brave one, refused to back down. With tear-filled eyes, she urged her friends to keep going. She believed they could find a way out and save Mark. Emily clutched a small pendant tightly, trying to channel positive energy to protect her friends from the malevolent forces. But as they continued their search, they stumbled upon an ancient crypt containing a gruesome scene. Mark's lifeless body lay there, surrounded by symbols of darkness and despair. Unholy spirits hovered around, feeding on the fear and anguish emanating from the group. Their will to escape waned, but they knew they couldn't surrender to the malevolence that sought to claim them. Sarah, fueled by anger and grief, vowed to confront the dark entities. She stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined, and demanded they release her friend's soul. The spirits hissed and snarled, but Sarah refused to back down. Her bravery seemed to ignite a spark of light in the crypt. The pendant in Emily's hand glowed brightly, pushing back against the darkness, and the spirits wailed in agony. With each passing moment, the group mustered the strength to resist the haunting forces. They chanted words of protection, using whatever they knew of ancient rituals and folklore. The graveyard trembled as if struggling to hold onto its sinister influence. In the climax of their battle against the supernatural, the crypt's walls shook violently, threatening to collapse on them. But just as it seemed all hope was lost, a brilliant light burst through the darkness, banishing the malevolent entities back to the depths from which they came. The group found themselves outside the mausoleum, under the clear night sky, gasping for breath but alive. The graveyard, now silent and still, had released its hold on them. They had survived the night, but they knew they would carry the memory of that terrifying encounter for the rest of their lives. As dawn approached, they left the ancient graveyard behind, vowing never to return. The experience had changed them forever, teaching them to respect the thin boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead. And as they walked away, the graveyard remained shrouded in its eternal mystery, forever haunted by the echoes of their harrowing tale. In the heart of a small, forgotten town, surrounded by ancient woods and twisted roads, there stood a graveyard that dated back centuries. The graveyard was a desolate place, shrouded in a perpetual darkness even during the brightest of days. Locals avoided it, claiming that malevolent spirits roamed the grounds, their presence made apparent by the chilling whispers carried by the wind. Late one autumn night, a group of daring teenagers, drawn by their curiosity and brimming with adrenaline, decided to venture into the haunted graveyard. Their names were Ethan, the fearless leader of the group, Sarah, the bookish and superstitious one, Mark, the jock who boasted of no fear, and finally Emily, the artistic and intuitive member of the quartet. The town's graveyard had been the setting of numerous sinister legends, stories of tormented souls seeking revenge or lost spirits unable to rest in peace. Many townsfolk claimed to have heard eerie cries in the dead of night, attributing them to the sorrowful souls of the departed. Despite the tales and warnings, the four teenagers dismissed the superstitions as mere fables, convinced that they were immune to the graveyard's ominous aura. As they approached the rusted iron gates, Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine, warning her of the unknown terrors that awaited them. She hesitated for a moment, but peer pressure and a desire to impress her friends overcame her trepidation. Together, they pushed the creaking gate open and stepped inside, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on the tombstones. Ethan led the way, brandishing a flashlight to guide them through the labyrinth of graves. The ground beneath their feet was uneven, and the air was thick with an unsettling silence. As they explored deeper into the graveyard, they noticed how each grave seemed to bear a tragic tale etched in weathered stone. Some graves were adorned with long-forgotten flowers, while others were completely neglected, bearing the weight of time. Emily, the artist, decided to capture the haunting beauty of the graveyard on her sketchpad. As she focused her attention on a peculiar mausoleum, her pencil strokes echoed in the stillness, unsettling the group even further. They could not help but feel like they were being watched from the shadows. As they moved deeper into the graveyard, an eerie mist started to rise from the ground, swirling around their ankles like ghostly tendrils. Sarah's breath quickened, and she clutched her jacket, attempting to ward off the sudden cold that enveloped them. Mark, the jock, tried to make light of the situation, jokingly calling out to any spirits that might be present, mocking the legends. However, their jests were abruptly silenced when a distant, haunting melody filled the air. It was a mournful tune reminiscent of an old music box. The notes seemed to float on the wind, and their origin was impossible to discern. The teens exchanged terrified glances, suddenly realizing that they had underestimated the graveyard's sinister reputation. Without warning, the ground beneath them began to tremble, causing the tombstones to shift and groan. The mist thickened, concealing what lurked in the darkness. Panic surged through the group, and they turned to flee, but the graveyard seemed to have a will of its own, trapping them within its confines. Their footsteps echoed, and every rustle of leaves seemed to be amplified. It was as if the graveyard itself was alive, angry at the intrusion of the living. Ethan's flashlight flickered, casting menacing shadows in every direction. They were disoriented, unable to find the exit, and the air felt oppressive, as if the darkness itself was suffocating them. Suddenly, Sarah let out a piercing scream as a spectral figure emerged from the mist. It was a woman in a tattered, flowing dress, her eyes hollow voids of darkness. Her wailing cries sent chills down their spines, and her ethereal form floated closer and closer, her ghostly fingers reaching out as if to grasp their souls. In desperation, the group ran in different directions, trying to escape the apparition's grasp. The graveyard seemed to change its shape, becoming an ever-shifting maze that twisted and turned, leading them deeper into its heart instead of out to safety. As the night wore on, each teen encountered their own nightmares within the graveyard's depths. Mark was pursued by phantom hands that clawed at him from the earth, Emily was trapped in an endless loop of horrifying visions, and Sarah found herself lost in a fog of confusion, unable to discern reality from illusion. Ethan, determined to save his friends, pushed himself to his limits, navigating the graveyard's shifting landscape. The mournful melody continued to haunt them, driving them to the brink of madness. As dawn approached, the graveyard seemed to relent, releasing its hold on the terrified teens. Exhausted, scared, and forever changed by their nightmarish experience, they finally stumbled out of the cemetery, their hearts pounding in their chests. They vowed never to speak of that dreadful night again, but the haunting memories lingered, etched into their souls. From that day forward, the graveyard remained a forbidden and cursed place in the town's lore. No one dared to enter its boundaries again, for the spirits within had shown their wrath, teaching a lesson about the dangers of venturing where the living should never tread. Yet, the haunting melody of the graveyard's resident specter still echoed in the town's night, a chilling reminder of the terrifying night the four teenagers would never forget. And so the graveyard stood, an eternal sentinel of death and darkness, silently waiting for the next curious souls who might dare to challenge its malevolent existence. Once upon a chilling Halloween night, in a forgotten village nestled deep within the dark woods, strange occurrences began to unfold. The village of Ravenswood was infamous for its eerie past, haunted by tales of malevolent spirits and restless souls. No one dared to venture into the woods, where ancient ruins stood as a reminder of a long-forgotten civilization. The townsfolk believed that the ruins harbored an unspeakable evil, and they had avoided it for generations. This particular Halloween, a group of curious teenagers decided to challenge the legends and embark on a journey to explore the haunted ruins. Among them were Emma, the brave and adventurous girl with a fascination for the supernatural, Jake, her daring and skeptical brother, Chloe, a bookish historian with a passion for folklore, and Ethan, the prankster who boasted about never being afraid. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the village, the teenagers gathered at the edge of the woods holding flickering lanterns that fought to ward off the encroaching darkness. With hearts pounding, they took their first steps into the depths of the foreboding forest. The path to the ruins was overgrown and winding, shrouded by twisted branches that seemed to reach out to them like skeletal fingers. Rustling leaves echoed sinister whispers, and a cold breeze sent shivers down their spines. They could feel the weight of unseen eyes watching them from the shadows. After what felt like an eternity, the group arrived at the crumbling ruins. The moon loomed large, casting an eerie glow upon the desolate structures. The air was thick with an otherworldly presence, and their lanterns flickered ominously. Ignoring their growing unease, the teens pressed on, eager to unravel the mysteries of Ravenswood's dark past. Chloe, engrossed in her research, deciphered ancient runes etched into the walls, warning of a long-lost ritual that could summon an evil entity from the depths of the underworld. Determined to test the veracity of the legend, Emma proposed performing the ritual. But Jake, feeling a sense of foreboding, vehemently opposed the idea. However, the thrill of the unknown proved too tempting, and soon they found themselves assembling the ritual's components. As the incantation echoed through the ruins, a deep silence settled over the forest. The teens watched in trepidation as a thick fog enveloped them, swallowing their lantern light. The air grew colder, and the ruins seemed to come alive, groaning with the weight of forgotten souls. Suddenly, a haunting figure emerged from the shadows, a spectral being with hollow eyes and an ethereal aura. The entity emanated malevolence, and the air was thick with dread. It was the embodiment of an ancient curse that had plagued Ravenswood for centuries. The teens were paralyzed with fear, realizing the magnitude of their mistake. They attempted to reverse the ritual, but it was too late. The malevolent entity was now unleashed upon the world, and it hungered for revenge. As the creature surged forward, the group scattered in terror. Their lanterns extinguished, they ran blindly through the woods, desperate to escape the clutches of the vengeful spirit. Each step took them deeper into the heart of the forest, where darkness reigned supreme. One by one, the malevolent entity began to claim the souls of those who dared to meddle with its ancient prison. The woods echoed with their terrified screams as they were dragged into the shadows, never to be seen again. Days turned into nights, and the village of Ravenswood became a ghost town. Its once thriving community was now a haunting reminder of the perilous consequences of their curiosity. The few survivors who managed to escape the woods shared tales of the horrors they witnessed that fateful Halloween night. No one would ever forget the night that Ravenswood was forever lost to the malevolent spirits that had lain dormant for centuries. From that Halloween onwards, the village was forever cursed, and its ruins became a forbidden land. The dark woods, once teeming with life, turned into an empty void, inhabited only by the restless spirits of those who had met their tragic end. Legend has it that every Halloween, the malevolent entity emerges from the ruins, seeking new souls to claim. The village of Ravenswood remains a cautionary tale, a reminder to all who hear it that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. And that in the shadows of the night, the boundaries between the living and the dead may blur, revealing the true horrors that lie hidden in the heart of darkness. In the heart of the mist-laden woods, where shadows danced with eerie delight, stood an ancient and foreboding mansion known as Hollowwood Manor. The tale of this haunted abode whispered through generations, terrifying even the bravest souls. It was said that on the eve of Halloween, the spirits of the deceased awakened, and the mansion's dark secrets were unleashed. In the year, a group of curious and adventurous friends, led by Cassandra, received mysterious invitations to attend a grand Halloween party at Hollowwood Manor. Drawn by the intrigue and allure of the unknown, they embarked on a thrilling journey into the heart of darkness. As the friends arrived at the manor, they couldn't ignore the sinister aura that enveloped the mansion. The aged iron gates creaked open, seemingly inviting them into a world of terror. A chill ran down their spines as they entered the mansion's grand foyer, greeted by the pale moonlight streaming through dusty windows. A peculiar host, cloaked in shadows, welcomed them with an unsettling smile. "Welcome, guests, to Hollowwood Manor. Prepare yourselves for an unforgettable night," he murmured before vanishing into the shadows. The party commenced in the opulent ballroom, adorned with cobweb-draped chandeliers and eerie portraits that seemed to watch the guests. As the clock struck midnight, the air grew colder, and the atmosphere shifted. Unseen hands played haunting melodies on a ghostly piano, and the guests noticed the portrait's eyes following them with a malevolent gaze. A chilling fog enveloped the ballroom, and the friends began to realize that they were not alone. Strange figures appeared on the dance floor, swirling with the shadows as if ethereal specters joined in the festivities. Cassandra, sensing an ominous presence, decided to explore the mansion's hidden corridors with her friends. They stumbled upon an ancient library, its shelves stacked with arcane tomes and grimoires. One particular book, bound in human skin, caught Cassandra's attention. As she opened it, whispers echoed from its pages, revealing dark rituals and forgotten incantations. The friends became trapped in a dreadful cycle, caught between the real world and the nightmarish realm of the mansion's dark history. Each corridor led to more secrets, and the more they uncovered, the more the spirits of Hollowwood Manor sought vengeance for their disturbed slumber. Within the depths of the mansion, they encountered spirits tormented by their tragic pasts. A weeping woman in white sought her lost love, while a malevolent specter in chains yearned for revenge against those who wronged him. Shadows danced and twisted, forming into grotesque apparitions that seemed hell-bent on driving the friends to madness. As dawn approached, the friends gathered in the grand ballroom, determined to put an end to the curse that plagued Hollywood Manor. Through their struggles, they pieced together the mansion's dark history, a tale of betrayal, greed, and malevolence. The master of the manor, Lord Hollywood, had made a pact with dark forces to prolong his life and gain wealth beyond measure. In his insatiable thirst for power, he condemned countless souls to a nightmarish existence within the mansion's walls. The only way to break the curse was a sacrificial ritual to appease the malevolent spirits. In a heart-wrenching decision, Cassandra offered herself as the sacrifice, knowing that her pure heart could quell the spirit's wrath. As she stood in the center of the ballroom, surrounded by her friends and the restless spirits, a solemn chant echoed through the chamber. The veil between the living and the dead thinned, and the mansion trembled as the spirits were released from their torment. With the curse finally broken, the mansion collapsed in on itself, swallowed by the earth. As the sun rose over the horizon, the once haunted woods cleared, and a sense of peace settled upon the land. The friends, though heartbroken over their loss, knew that Cassandra's sacrifice had saved them all. They left the woods with heavy hearts, forever changed by their encounter with the supernatural. The tale of Hollywood Manor lived on, whispered among townsfolk for generations to come. And on each Halloween night, a gentle breeze would carry the distant laughter and echoes of a long-gone party, reminding everyone that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. In the heart of rural America, nestled between vast fields and small towns, lay the unassuming town of Blackwood. It was a place where life moved at a leisurely pace, and the warm hospitality of its residents enveloped everyone who passed through. However, a sinister secret lurked beneath the surface, one that whispered of an ancient curse bound to the land by a vengeful spirit. As summer descended upon Blackwood, the skies turned ominous and dark clouds rolled in from the horizon. The locals knew the signs. It was the season of the Black Storm, a legendary tornado that visited the town every 50 years, leaving behind a trail of destruction and fear in its wake. Generations had passed since its last visit, but the elders remembered its malevolent power, warning the younger ones of its impending arrival. Among the locals was Rachel, a young woman who had recently moved to Blackwood with her family, drawn by the town's charm and tranquility. She was eager to start anew after a series of unfortunate events in the city, but little did she know that her arrival had unknowingly awakened the vengeful spirit lurking in the shadows. As the days passed, the wind whispered eerie warnings, and the townsfolk could feel the presence of the Black Storm drawing near. Rachel noticed strange occurrences. The trees rustled with an unnatural intensity, the animals seemed restless, and unexplained chills ran down her spine. However, her family brushed off her concerns as mere imagination. Then, one fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, an eerie silence enveloped Blackwood. The air grew heavy with foreboding, and the townsfolk retreated indoors, seeking safety from the impending storm. Rachel, haunted by her premonitions, peered out her window to witness an unnerving sight. A black funnel cloud had descended from the sky, spiraling toward the town with terrifying precision. Panic ensued as the tornado's deafening roar echoed through the streets. The townspeople rushed to their basements, but Rachel, driven by an unexplainable force, felt compelled to confront the malevolent spirit responsible for this wrath. Ignoring the cries of her family, she ventured into the heart of the storm. The town square became her battleground, where the forces of good and evil collided. With every step, the wind's intensity grew, pushing her back as if an invisible hand sought to protect her from her own doom. But Rachel's determination did not waver. She knew that confronting the spirit was the only way to end this ancient curse. Within the swirling chaos, a ghastly figure emerged, the embodiment of the vengeful spirit that had plagued Blackwood for centuries. It was a specter of rage and torment, and its eyes gleamed with malevolence. It accused the town of forgetting its dark history and allowing outsiders like Rachel to disrupt its slumber. Rachel stood her ground, her heart pounding with fear and defiance. She pleaded with the spirit, explaining that she had no knowledge of the curse and was innocent of any wrongdoing. But the spirit was relentless, intent on unleashing its fury upon her. In the midst of their confrontation, an unexpected ally appeared, an elderly woman named Agatha, the town's wise and mysterious elder. Agatha wielded an ancient amulet said to possess the power to dispel evil spirits. With trembling hands, she raised the amulet, reciting incantations passed down through generations. The amulet emitted a blinding light that momentarily subdued the vengeful spirit. Rachel and Agatha seized the opportunity to draw the spirit away from the heart of the town, where the energy of the curse was most potent. They led the spirit to the outskirts, where the land was desolate and barren, devoid of the memories that fed its rage. As the spirit weakened, Rachel found herself empathizing with its suffering. She learned of its tragic past, the injustice that had befallen it, and the pain it had endured for centuries. With tears in her eyes, she reached out, offering forgiveness and understanding. Miraculously, the spirit's malevolence began to wane. In that moment of redemption, the wind calmed and the tornado dissipated, leaving the town unharmed. The curse had been broken, and the vengeful spirit found peace at last, dissolving into the winds. From that day forward, Blackwood remembered its dark history, honoring the spirit that had tormented them for centuries. Rachel became a part of the town's lore, a hero who faced the wrath of the Black Storm and emerged victorious. The bond between Rachel and Agatha grew strong, and the two became the guardians of the amulet, protecting it from ever falling into the wrong hands. As the years passed, the legend of the Black Storm lived on, reminding future generations of the importance of understanding the past, respecting the land's ancient spirits, and embracing the strangers who found solace within its warm embrace. Blackwood remained a place of tranquility, but its history was etched in the hearts of its residents, never to be forgotten. And so the tale of the Black Storm continues to be whispered in the winds, a chilling reminder of the power that lies within nature and the courage of those who dare to face their fears head-on. In the heart of America, a quaint town named Whistler's Hollow nestled amongst rolling hills and lush greenery. The town's picturesque appearance masked the foreboding secret that lay dormant in the skies above. Unbeknownst to the townsfolk, a malevolent force was about to awaken, ready to unleash a night of horror that would forever scar their memories. It was the eve of the annual Whistler's Hollow Harvest Festival, a time when the community gathered to celebrate their bountiful harvest and revel in the joys of autumn. Families prepared for the festivities with laughter and excitement, but the calm facade of happiness was soon to be shattered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, ominous storm clouds gathered on the horizon. The weather forecast predicted thunderstorms, but none could have foreseen the monstrous tornado lurking within the heart of this tempest. The townspeople gazed at the darkening skies, unnerved by an eerie sensation, but none could put a finger on the cause of their discomfort. As night fell, the festivities were in full swing. The scent of freshly baked pies and caramel apples wafted through the air, but the festivities were about to take a sinister turn. A distant rumble of thunder echoed, and the first bolt of lightning streaked across the sky. Whispers of unease spread through the crowd like wildfire. Amidst the growing unease, a stranger appeared in town. Tall and cloaked in a tattered black coat, he moved with an air of mystery. His presence unsettled the townspeople, but they were too preoccupied with the encroaching storm to pay him much heed. As the clock struck midnight, the carnival lights flickered, and the once lively atmosphere became eerily quiet. The wind howled like a banshee, warning of the impending doom that loomed overhead. The stranger's eyes seemed to glow with an unnatural intensity as he stared into the darkened skies. Suddenly a deafening roar filled the night air, and a colossal tornado touched down on the outskirts of Whistler's Hollow. The ground trembled beneath the force of its wrath, and the tempest's fury quickly engulfed the town in its monstrous grasp. Panic and chaos ensued as the tornado carved a path of destruction through the heart of Whistler's Hollow. Houses crumbled like paper, trees were uprooted, and vehicles were tossed around like toys. The carnival rides twisted and contorted grotesquely, taking on a nightmarish appearance. Amidst the madness, the stranger emerged as if untouched by the chaos around him. He seemed to wield an unnatural power over the tempest, guiding its path with sinister intent. The townspeople watched in horror as he seemed to control the very essence of the storm, directing its destruction towards the most vulnerable parts of the town. As the night wore on, the storm seemed endless, the sky ablaze with flashes of lightning and the tornado's malevolent dance. Fear and desperation gripped the hearts of the townspeople as they sought refuge in basements and storm shelters. Families were torn apart, and the once tight-knit community was now fractured by terror. In the midst of the madness, a brave few dared to confront the stranger. Armed with whatever makeshift weapons they could find, they confronted him in the heart of the storm. But their efforts were in vain, for the stranger's power seemed limitless, and he dispatched them with a wave of his hand. As the night drew on, the tornado showed no signs of relenting. The town lay in ruins, and the stranger's malevolent laughter echoed through the tempest. It was as if the very spirit of the storm had taken on a human form, driven by an insatiable hunger for destruction. Just when all hope seemed lost, a brilliant flash of light illuminated the night sky. The tornado faltered as if struck by an unseen force. A figure emerged from the depths of the storm, a being of radiant light and immense power. The stranger's eyes widened with surprise and fear, realizing that he was not the only entity to command the forces of nature. The newcomer engaged the stranger in a fierce battle of elemental forces. Thunder clashed with lightning, wind fought against wind, and the sky crackled with energy as they waged a cataclysmic battle. The townspeople watched in awe and terror, praying for deliverance from the clutches of this otherworldly confrontation. With a final surge of power, the stranger was defeated, and the malevolent tornado began to dissipate. The storm clouds parted, revealing a night sky filled with stars, as if the heavens themselves wept for the fallen town. The newcomer turned to the townspeople, a figure of ethereal beauty and wisdom. "Fear not," they spoke with a voice that echoed through hearts, "I am the guardian of storms, and I have come to put an end to this reign of terror." With that, the guardian vanished into the night, leaving the people of Whistler's Hollow to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. Though the town had suffered immense losses, they found solace in the fact that the storm had been quelled, and they were no longer at the mercy of the malevolent tornado. From that day on, the legend of the gathering storm was etched into the annals of Whistler's Hollow. The townspeople knew that they would never forget the horrors of that night, nor the guardian who had saved them from a darkness that had almost consumed them all. In a secluded village nestled deep within the ancient woods, a chilling tale had been passed down through generations, a legend that spoke of a sinister witch that once dwelt there. Her name was Morgana, and her malevolence was said to be unmatched by any mortal being. She had been cursed by dark forces long ago, granting her immense power, but also binding her soul to an insatiable thirst for revenge and destruction. The village had lived in fear of Morgana for centuries. She was said to be a grotesque figure, with gnarled limbs and eyes that gleamed like burning embers in the darkest night. The legend warned of her eerie laughter echoing through the trees and her chilling songs that could make even the bravest hearts tremble with terror. The villagers' fear was not unfounded, for Morgana was known for her malevolent deeds. She would cast wicked spells on unsuspecting victims, cursing them with misfortune or turning them into mindless creatures that roamed the woods in eternal suffering. Those who dared venture too close to her lair were never seen again, their fate swallowed by the darkness that surrounded her dwelling. One fateful night, as an eerie fog shrouded the village, a young and adventurous woman named Elena was drawn by a mysterious force towards the heart of the woods. Though the villagers warned her of the malevolent witch's presence, curiosity and a longing for adventure overcame her fears. Lena's heart pounded in her chest as she wandered deeper into the woods, the trees closing in around her like grasping hands. The fog grew thicker, obscuring her vision and creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Strange sounds echoed through the darkness and an ominous feeling settled in her gut. As she ventured further, the trees seemed to twist and contort, forming a nightmarish path that led her straight to Morgana's lair. A cackling laugh echoed through the woods, and suddenly, the fog lifted, revealing an ancient and eerie cabin hidden amidst the trees. It exuded an aura of ancient evil, with twisted vines and eerie symbols etched into the walls. Elena's heart trembled, but her curiosity held her captive. She stepped forward, the creaking of the old wooden floor beneath her feet announcing her arrival. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of decay and magic. Strange potions and trinkets adorned the shelves, and a dark cauldron bubbled menacingly in the corner. Just as Elena was about to turn and flee, a haunting voice resonated through the room, freezing her in place. "Ah, a new visitor," Morgana purred, emerging from the shadows. Her twisted features were even more horrifying up close, and Elena could feel the raw malevolence emanating from the witch. Elena mustered the courage to speak, her voice trembling. I didn't mean to intrude. I'll leave now." Morgana's malicious grin widened, and she raised a bony finger, muttering an incantation. The door slammed shut, sealing Elena's fate. "Oh my dear, you cannot simply walk away after stumbling into my domain," Morgana hisses. "You shall serve me now forever." Elena's heart pounded with fear as she felt a strange force constricting her movements. She was trapped, completely under the witch's control. Morgana reveled in her captive's terror, enjoying the suffering she caused. Back in the village, whispers of Elena's disappearance spread like wildfire. The villagers knew that Morgana was responsible, but fear kept them from taking action. They knew that confronting the witch would invite her wrath upon them all. However, among the villagers, there was a mysterious figure known as the Elder Guardian. They were said to possess ancient knowledge and power, a guardian of the village's deepest secrets. As the fear of Morgana's reign grew, the villagers pleaded with the Elder Guardian for aid. The Elder Guardian, a wise and enigmatic figure, listened to the villagers' pleas and sensed the growing darkness in the woods. They knew that Morgana's malevolence needed to be stopped once and for all. Armed with ancient spells and a heart full of determination, the Elder Guardian set out to confront the malevolent witch. The showdown between the Elder Guardian and Morgana was a cataclysmic clash of magic and willpower. Spells clashed, the earth trembled, and the skies roared with thunder. But in the end, it was the Elder Guardian's deep-rooted sense of duty and love for the village that triumphed. With a final burst of magical energy, the Elder Guardian managed to seal Morgana's evil soul within an ancient amulet. The malevolent witch's reign of terror had come to an end. The malevolent witch's reign of terror had come to an end. The woods grew calm once more, and the village was finally free from the shackles of fear. Elena, now released from Morgana's control, returned to the village, forever changed by her harrowing experience. She vowed to become a protector of the village, following in the footsteps of the Elder Guardian. But as the villagers celebrated their newfound freedom, they knew that the legend of Morgana the Evil Witch would forever linger in the shadows. They would remember the horrors she had wrought, a reminder that darkness lurked in even the most peaceful places, waiting for an opportunity to strike. And so the tale of the scary, evil witch was etched into the village's history, serving as a cautionary reminder to future generations, a chilling testament to the enduring power of darkness and the strength required to overcome it. Deep within the misty forests, there stood an ancient, crumbling manor known as Brook Manor. For centuries, the locals spoke in hushed whispers about the sinister secrets that lurked within its walls. The legend spoke of a malevolent witch who once dwelled in the manor, consuming the souls of the innocent to prolong her wicked existence. Her name was Malvina, and her presence had cast a dark shadow over the entire region. One gloomy evening, a group of curious teenagers, drawn by the allure of the macabre tale, decided to venture into the forbidding realm of Brook Manor. Among them was Emily, a fearless young woman whose fascination with the supernatural led her to seek the truth behind the legends. As they approached the decrepit manor, the air turned thick and heavy, making it hard for them to breathe. The moonlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy of trees, casting eerie shadows on the mossy ground. Unperturbed by the ominous atmosphere, Emily and her friends pressed on, their hearts pounding in anticipation. As they stepped through the creaking gates, the manor revealed its ghastly facade. The once grand structure now lay in ruins, its windows shattered and its walls covered in creeping vines. The place seemed to emanate an otherworldly energy, as if it were alive, watching their every move. The group hesitated for a moment, but continued their exploration, drawn by an inexplicable force deeper into the heart of the manor. The scent of decay hung heavy in the air, and faint whispers echoed through the halls. Emily felt an unsettling presence, like icy fingers tracing her spine, but she remained steadfast in her pursuit of the truth. As they ventured further, they discovered a hidden chamber deep in the bowels of the manor. Within it lay an ancient tomb, adorned with esoteric symbols. The book revealed the dark history of Malvina, a powerful witch who was rumored to have made a pact with malevolent forces in exchange for eternal youth and power. Unbeknownst to the group, their presence had awakened Malvina's malevolence. From the shadows, a chilling laughter echoed through the halls, freezing the blood in their veins. Panic set in, and they tried to flee, but the doors slammed shut, trapping them within the haunted manor. Emily's heart pounded, but her determination remained unshaken. Armed with newfound knowledge, she sought a way to defeat the malevolent witch and break the curse that had bound her to the manor for centuries. In their desperate search for a way out, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber, adorned with an altar of dark magic. The walls were adorned with grotesque relics, and at the center lay a cursed amulet, said to be the source of Malvina's power. Emily understood that to break the curse, they needed to destroy the amulet and banish the witch from the mortal realm. As they prepared a ritual to destroy the amulet, Malvina's presence grew stronger, and the temperature plummeted. Time seemed to slow as Emily and her friends chanted the incantation. Shadows danced around them, and Malvina's ethereal form materialized before them. Her eyes were pools of darkness, her hair like writhing serpents, and her voice a haunting melody that chilled them to their bones. "You dare defile my sanctum and challenge my power?" Malvina hissed, her voice laced with malevolence. Undeterred, Emily held her ground and shouted the final words of the incantation. The amulet began to crack, and a blinding light filled the room. The witch let out a piercing scream as her powers waned. In a last, desperate attempt, Malvina lunged towards Emily, but her friends bravely shielded her. The amulet shattered, releasing a burst of energy that consumed Malvina, vanquishing her evil presence from the manor forever. The darkness lifted, and the manor ceased its eerie groaning. The doors swung open, granting the group freedom from the cursed place. As they stepped outside, the sun broke through the clouds, bathing the world in a warm glow. From that day on, Brook Manor stood vacant, its evil legacy a mere memory. And though the legends of the malevolent witch persisted, the brave actions of Emily and her friends had saved countless souls from falling victim to the darkness that once haunted those cursed halls. In the heart of America, nestled within a dense and ominous forest, stood an abandoned amusement park known as Dark Haven. Once the epitome of joy and laughter, it now lay silent and decaying, shrouded in legends of unspeakable horror. Among its many attractions was the infamous roller coaster, the Abyssal Descent. Decades ago, the roller coaster was a marvel of engineering and innovation, a testament to human ingenuity. However, one fateful night, tragedy struck during a ferocious thunderstorm that ravaged the region. The roller coaster was struck by lightning, and a sinister energy seemed to awaken within its steel frame. From that moment on, rumors began to spread of eerie sightings and ghostly whispers echoing from the tracks. Years later, as the amusement park fell into disrepair, a group of daring teenagers, fascinated by the legends, decided to venture into the forgotten realm of Dark Haven. Among them were Mark, the adventurous and charismatic leader, Sarah, his bold and fearless girlfriend, Brian, the tech-savvy skeptic, and Emily, the superstitious and timid girl who reluctantly tagged along. As they approached the rusty gates of Dark Haven, a chill ran down their spines, but Mark's determination urged them forward. They pushed past the overgrown vegetation and entered the desolate amusement park. The sight was unsettling, with broken rides and faded memories lurking in every shadow. In the distance, the ominous silhouette of the Abyssal Descent rose against the moonlit sky. It seemed to call out to them, daring them to take the ride of a lifetime. Brian, ever the rational one, warned them about the dangers, but Mark dismissed it as mere superstition. He convinced the group that this was their chance to uncover the truth behind the legends. The friends hesitated, but curiosity and bravado took over. They boarded the creaky roller coaster, the old seats giving an unsettling sense of foreboding. The operator's booth was empty, and the controls appeared ancient. With a shaky hand, Mark pulled the lever, setting the ride in motion. As they ascended the first hill, the atmosphere grew tense. The rickety ascent filled the air with an eerie symphony of creaks and groans. The higher they climbed, the darker the forest below became, until it seemed like an impenetrable abyss. Suddenly, the ride jolted, and the tracks seemed to warp, shifting as if they were alive. They plummeted into a series of heart-stopping drops and gut-wrenching twists, but something was wrong. The speed and intensity surpassed anything a normal roller coaster could achieve. Sarah's screams of excitement turned to terror, and Emily clung to her seat for dear life. Brian was desperately trying to make sense of the erratic ride mechanics. The coaster veered into an unexpected tunnel, and the darkness enveloped them like a shroud. Within the confined space, they caught glimpses of ghastly apparitions, flickering in and out of view. Panic swept over them as they realized that the legends were no mere tales but a grim reality. As the ride neared its conclusion, Mark's bravado began to waver. He knew they had unleashed something malevolent, something that sought to claim their souls. The coaster flew off the tracks and into a realm beyond comprehension, a twisted dimension where time and space warped. In a desperate bid for survival, the friends clung to one another, praying for an escape. Suddenly, the ride came to an abrupt halt. They found themselves back at the starting point, shaken and terrified but alive. The roller coaster stood still, its malevolent energy seemingly quelled. It was a haunting experience that none of them would ever forget. As they left Dark Haven, the park seemed to recede into the darkness, perhaps retreating to a world of its own. The group vowed never to speak of the ordeal again, and yet, the memories haunted their dreams. Dark Haven remained abandoned, its secrets buried within its decaying walls, waiting for the next curious souls to dare to uncover the horrors that lurked within the Abyssal Descent. Once a popular amusement park in America, Abaddon Park boasted a variety of thrilling rides that drew crowds from all over the country. Among them, the crown jewel was the infamous Haunted Asylum coaster. The coaster's dark reputation and eerie design made it the stuff of legends and rumors. It stood tall at the edge of the park, a towering structure that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest visitors. The story of the Haunted Asylum coaster began decades ago, when an actual asylum stood on the very spot where the amusement park now thrived. The asylum was notorious for its mistreatment of patients, and it closed under mysterious circumstances. Some believed that the spirits of the tormented souls still haunted the grounds. As the sun set over Abaddon Park, the coaster's entrance beckoned thrill seekers with a haunting glow. Caroline, a young woman with a passion for the paranormal, had come to the park seeking adventure and excitement. Her friends, skeptical of the coaster's legends, dared her to ride it alone after dark. Undaunted, Caroline joined the line, trying to ignore the unsettling feeling that something watched her from the shadows. As she boarded the rickety coaster car, she noticed the chilling wind that seemed to echo with ghostly whispers. The ride operator, a somber figure in tattered clothing, warned her to hold on tight as he released the brakes. The coaster began its ascent with a slow, agonizing climb. The creaking of metal and the distant sound of clanking chains only intensified the ominous atmosphere. Caroline's heart pounded as she reached the top, where a full moon cast an eerie light on the abandoned asylum below. With a sudden jerk, the coaster plunged into darkness. Caroline's screams were drowned out by the cacophony of rattling chains and haunting music that seemed to come from nowhere. The ride twisted and turned through shadowy hallways, past decrepit cells, and into pitch-black rooms. In the dim light, Caroline caught glimpses of ghostly apparitions wandering the halls, their pale faces contorted in pain and sorrow. Terrifying laughter echoed through the asylum, and the coaster's chilling soundtrack intensified the sense of dread. As the coaster hurtled through the darkness, Caroline felt an icy hand on her shoulder. She turned to see a ghastly figure beside her, his hollow eyes staring into her soul. Frozen in fear, she couldn't escape the horrifying presence next to her. The coaster continued its terrifying journey, the spirits of the asylum becoming more aggressive with each twist and turn. Caroline's mind raced with thoughts of escape, but there was no way off the ride until it reached the end. Caroline's once skeptical friends began to believe the legends as they witnessed her transformation. They sought the help of paranormal experts and mediums, but none could dispel the malevolent spirits that had taken hold of Caroline's life. In a desperate attempt to break the curse, they returned to Abaddon Park determined to confront the source of the haunting. As they entered the desolate asylum, the spirits grew more powerful, their eerie whispers almost deafening. Deep in the heart of the asylum, they discovered an ancient, weathered diary belonging to a former asylum worker. The diary recounted horrific tales of abuse and torment inflicted upon the patients by a sadistic doctor who reveled in their suffering. The friends realized that the doctor's malevolence had left an indelible mark on the place, and the spirits were bound to the asylum and the Haunted Asylum coaster. Armed with this knowledge, they devised a plan to release the tormented souls and break the curse. With the help of a powerful ritual, they managed to free the spirits, allowing them to find peace at last. As the spirits ascended to the afterlife, Caroline felt a weight lifted from her shoulders. The curse had been broken, and the Haunted Asylum coaster would never be the same again. Though the ride remained, it no longer held the same sinister aura. The park management transformed it into a tribute to the asylum's history, educating visitors about the dark past while also honoring the spirits who had suffered. And so the legend of the Haunted Asylum coaster lived on, not as a tale of fear, but as a reminder of the power of redemption and the resilience of the human spirit. Abaddon Park continued to thrive, its newest attraction a testament to the transformative power of facing one's fears and confronting the ghosts of the past. In the heart of a secluded amusement park in America, the Midnight Express stood tall, a relic from a bygone era. Its rusty tracks snaked through a dense forest, and rumors of a haunting spread like wildfire among the park employees. Despite the warnings, thrill seekers couldn't resist the allure of riding the coaster under the eerie moonlight. One moonlit night, a group of friends decided to test their bravery and boarded the creaking coaster. As the train ascended the first hill, an unsettling fog enveloped the riders. Their laughter turned to nervous anticipation as the coaster plunged into darkness, the only source of light being the pale moon above. Whispers echoed through the woods as the train hurtled through unexpected twists and turns. With each jolt, the riders caught fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures among the trees. The air grew colder, and the sensation of being watched sent shivers down their spines. As the coaster roared through a pitch-black tunnel, a chilling voice pierced the darkness, warning them to turn back. Ignoring the warning, the friends laughed nervously, dismissing it as a part of the ride's immersive experience. Yet, the unsettling voice persisted, growing louder and more ominous with each second. Panic set in as the coaster suddenly screeched to a halt, leaving the riders suspended in eerie silence. The fog thickened around them, and a bone-chilling presence surrounded the coaster. Unable to move, the friends could only watch in horror as ghostly apparitions materialized before them. The figures were pale, with hollow eyes and grotesque expressions. Screams echoed through the forest as the coaster inexplicably jolted to life again. It sped through the remaining track, the apparitions vanishing into the night. The friends stumbled out of the coaster trembling and pale, knowing they had experienced something far beyond the realm of the living. The park employees found them shaken and terrified, vowing never to return to the Midnight Express. But the legend of the ghostly roller coaster lived on, drawing brave souls who dared to challenge the unknown horrors lurking within its twisting paths. And so the Midnight Express continued its haunting reign, a chilling reminder that some rides are better left untested and some spirits never find peace. It was a dark and stormy night as flight prepared for departure. Passengers nervously boarded the airplane, but they tried to shake off their unease, dismissing it as mere superstition. Little did they know that this would be a flight they'd never forget. The plane took off into the inky blackness of the night, and soon after reaching cruising altitude, strange things began to happen. The lights flickered, and the cabin was filled with an eerie cold breeze. Flight attendants exchanged nervous glances, sensing that something was amiss. As the aircraft flew on, passengers began hearing unsettling whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Each person felt a growing sense of dread in the pit of their stomachs, and fear spread like wildfire through the cabin. Suddenly, the cockpit door swung open, revealing an empty space inside. The captain and co-pilot were nowhere to be found. Panic ensued among the passengers, and the flight attendants frantically searched for the missing crew members. They found the cockpit to be deserted, with no signs of struggle or explanation. The plane's intercom crackled to life, emitting a sinister voice that sent shivers down the spines of everyone on board. "Welcome to the flight of no return," the voice hissed. "Prepare for a journey you'll never forget." As the passengers looked around in terror, they noticed the cabin had changed. The windows displayed nightmarish scenes, fiery skies, ghostly apparitions, and terrifying landscapes. It was as if they had entered a realm of the supernatural. Voice synthesis performed by Yandex Cloud SpeechKit. In the distance, a figure emerged from the darkness. A pale, ghostly flight attendant glided down the aisle, her eyes hollow and lifeless. She warned the passengers of an ancient curse that had befallen this flight. Decades ago, flight had vanished without a trace, and it was said that the souls of the lost passengers haunted the skies seeking vengeance. Desperate to escape this nightmare, some passengers tried to pry open the emergency exits, but to no avail. The plane seemed to defy the laws of physics, as if it were locked in some ghastly dimension. The apparitions intensified, chilling cries and wails echoed through the cabin, and shadows danced across the walls. A young boy clutching a tattered teddy bear appeared, asking for his mother. A weeping woman, drenched in water, claimed she had drowned in the airplane's past life. The restless spirits sought solace in the living, trying to communicate their anguish and find release. One by one, the passengers experienced terrifying visions and encounters with the otherworldly. The line between the living and the dead blurred, and they were forced to confront their deepest fears and regrets. As the hours dragged on, the fear and despair were palpable. A few brave souls tried to perform rituals to appease the spirits, but nothing seemed to work. The airplane had become a haunted prison, with no escape in sight. Time lost all meaning as the flight seemed to continue indefinitely. Exhausted, terrified, and on the brink of madness, the passengers had almost given up hope. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the haunting ceased. The spirits faded away, and the airplane returned to its normal state. The cockpit door reopened, revealing the captain and co-pilot, who seemed unaware of the harrowing events that had unfolded. The airplane landed safely, and the passengers disembarked, shaken to their core. Many refused to believe what they had experienced, chalking it up to collective hysteria or a shared hallucination. But those who had lived through flight knew the truth. They had traversed the boundary between the living and the dead, and they would forever carry the memories of that terrifying journey. From that day on, flight was grounded permanently. No airplane dared to fly that cursed route again, for fear of awakening the restless spirits that haunted the skies. And so the legend of flight lived on, whispered among aviators and travelers as a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the dark corners of the world. It was a dark and stormy night as flight prepared for takeoff. The passengers boarded the plane, and an eerie feeling seemed to linger in the air. As the plane taxied to the runway, the lightning flashed ominously, and the thunder roared as if warning them of impending doom. Captain Mitchell, a seasoned pilot, tried to remain calm as he led his crew. However, he couldn't shake off the nagging sense that something was terribly wrong. Little did he know that the airplane was not what it seemed. It had a dark history plagued by mysterious accidents and countless tales of hauntings. As flight soared through the night sky, strange things started happening. Passengers reported seeing shadowy figures moving in the corners of their eyes. Some claimed to hear ghostly whispers echoing through the cabin, despite being isolated from one another. The cabin crew began to feel a chilling presence, making their hair stand on end as if unseen hands brushed against their skin. A woman sitting in a claimed she saw a child-like figure wandering the aisles, but when the flight attendants investigated, there was nothing there. The temperature in the cabin fluctuated wildly, from icy cold to sweltering heat in a matter of minutes. The onboard instruments malfunctioned, showing erratic readings and unexplained anomalies. As the flight continued, Captain Mitchell started delving into the plane's history. He discovered that flight was infamous for its tragedies. It had a history of mysterious disappearances, unexplained accidents, and strange occurrences throughout its years of service. According to the records, it was believed that the plane was cursed by the souls of those who had tragically perished on its flights. Captain Mitchell kept this revelation to himself, not wanting to panic the passengers and crew further. He hoped that it was all a coincidence and that they would make it to their destination safely. But as the flight progressed, the supernatural occurrences escalated, making it harder to ignore the ominous truth. Passengers grew increasingly frightened, and rumors of the plane being haunted spread like wildfire. The crew struggled to maintain order as panic gripped the cabin. Some passengers demanded to be let off the plane, while others prayed fervently, seeking divine protection from whatever malevolent force was haunting the aircraft. The flight attendants tried to reassure everyone, but their own fear was evident in their eyes. Even the most skeptical among them couldn't deny the inexplicable events unfolding around them. The once unified crew became divided, some believing in the supernatural, while others tried to find rational explanations for the eerie happenings. As the situation grew dire, Captain Mitchell decided that an emergency landing was necessary. He communicated with air traffic control, trying to find a suitable airport to land. However, the plane seemed to be drawn towards a desolate and abandoned airfield in the middle of nowhere. Despite his best efforts to redirect the plane, flight continued its course towards the ghostly airfield. The captain tried all his skills to regain control, but it was as if an invisible force was guiding the plane to its destined location. Upon landing, the truth about the plane's curse was revealed. Long ago, flight had been involved in a horrific crash that claimed the lives of all its passengers and crew. Since then, the restless souls haunted the plane, seeking redemption and a chance to leave this earthly realm. The spirits were angry and their energy fueled the terrifying events that had unfolded during the flight. The passengers and crew were now trapped, and the only way to break the curse was to confront the ghosts and help them find peace. With no other option, Captain Mitchell and the surviving crew members gathered the passengers to perform a ritual to communicate with the spirits. They needed to understand their grievances and find a way to release them from their torment. In a solemn ceremony, they lit candles and chanted prayers, trying to reach out to the lingering souls. The airplane cabin became a theater of paranormal activity, with lights flickering, objects moving, and ghostly apparitions appearing before them. Through the ritual, they discovered the ghosts' sorrowful stories, passengers who had died too soon, crew members who hadn't been able to say goodbye to their loved ones, and others seeking forgiveness for past wrongs. Together, they helped the spirits find closure, offering words of comfort and solace. As dawn approached, the plane was engulfed in a blinding light, and a sense of peace washed over everyone on board. The curse was finally broken, and the spirits were free to move on to the afterlife. The plane was no longer haunted, and flight completed its journey to its intended destination, but it would forever be remembered as the flight that defied the supernatural. Captain Mitchell and his crew were hailed as heroes, though they knew the truth: they were mere instruments in the redemption of souls. From that day on, the airplane was retired, but its story lived on as a cautionary tale to those who dared to ignore the power of the unknown. The legend of flight, the haunted airplane, became part of aviation folklore, a chilling reminder that sometimes the past can never truly be left behind. In the sleepy town of Blackwood, a haunting past lurked beneath the surface of its idyllic facade. Over a century ago, a wicked soul named Silas Greystone terrorized the community. His gruesome reign of terror ended when he was captured and hanged for his heinous crimes, but his malevolent spirit never truly departed. It was a dark and stormy night when the chilling whispers of Silas Greystone's restless spirit began to echo through the streets once more. A series of murders commenced, each victim chosen randomly but marked by a gruesome signature, their faces mutilated beyond recognition. As the body count increased, panic spread like wildfire throughout Blackwood. The townsfolk locked their doors and windows, yet Silas seemed to slip through the shadows like an ethereal specter, leaving no trace of his presence. In the face of terror, the town called upon a seasoned investigator, Detective Robert Harrison. With a troubled past of his own, Harrison was known for his relentless pursuit of justice and unyielding determination. As he delved deeper into the chilling case, he found himself haunted by the ever-present whispers of the malevolent spirit. At each crime scene, Harrison discovered obscure symbols etched into the walls, cryptic messages left behind by the sinister entity. These symbols led him to an old, abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town, the same dwelling where Silas Greystone once lived. As the storm raged on, Detective Harrison ventured into the decaying mansion, its creaking floorboards and foreboding aura testifying to its dark history. Armed with a flashlight and a heart pounding with dread, he stepped further into the labyrinthine horrors that awaited. Within the dilapidated mansion, Harrison found eerie drawings on the walls, depicting the grotesque murders. Silas' malevolent presence grew stronger, pushing the detective to the brink of madness. Each step he took seemed to lead deeper into the clutches of the malevolent spirit. As Harrison pressed on, he unearthed the truth behind Silas Greystone's wicked past. The serial killer was once a charismatic preacher, but a sinister darkness consumed him, leading him down a path of unspeakable atrocities. Silas had formed a cult in secret, performing gruesome rituals to appease dark entities. In a twisted bid for immortality, he sought to unleash an ancient curse upon the town, ensuring his presence would haunt Blackwood for eternity. Harrison realized that he needed to confront Silas' spirit head-on to stop the relentless killings. Armed with ancient artifacts and the knowledge of the cult's dark rituals, he performed a dangerous exorcism, attempting to banish the malevolent spirit once and for all. The nightmarish battle ensued within the crumbling mansion, as reality and the supernatural collided. Harrison fought against the vengeful spirit, every moment testing his resolve and sanity. As the final confrontation approached, the storm outside intensified, unleashing torrential rains and thunderous roars. Within the mansion, the forces of darkness seemed to converge upon Harrison, trying to snuff out his light. In an act of desperation, Harrison used the last of his strength to perform the exorcism. He recited ancient incantations, clashing with Silas' haunting whispers. At the brink of exhaustion, the malevolent spirit's grip weakened. In a burst of blinding light, Silas' malevolent spirit was vanquished. Harrison collapsed, drained both physically and emotionally. The ancient curse was lifted, and the town of Blackwood was freed from the clutches of the serial killer's haunting past. In the wake of the storm, the town began to heal, but the memories of the horrific events would forever linger. Detective Robert Harrison became a legend, a hero who had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The mansion, once a den of evil, was left abandoned, a grim reminder of the horrors that had transpired within its walls. And though the evil spirit was gone, whispers of Silas Greystone's reign continued to echo through the darkest corners of Blackwood. The tale of the serial killer and the brave detective would become a chilling legend passed down through generations, a reminder to never forget the shadows of the slaughter that once haunted their town. And so the darkness lay dormant, biding its time, waiting for another stormy night to awaken once more. In the small, quiet town of Ravenbrook, nestled deep within the heart of America, a chilling darkness lurked beneath the tranquil surface. As autumn settled in, bringing with it a cool mist that veiled the streets, a series of gruesome murders began to terrify the once peaceful community. The locals whispered of a sinister figure known only as the Shadowed Pursuit, a cunning serial killer who struck fear into the hearts of all who crossed their path. The first victim, a young woman named Emily, was found near the edge of the woods, her lifeless body bound in a grotesque display. Fear gripped Ravenbrook like a vice, as rumors of the sinister figure spread through the town like wildfire. Detective Alex Turner, a seasoned investigator haunted by his own demons, was assigned to the case. As the bodies continued to pile up, he realized that the killer seemed to strike with a disturbing precision, always leaving a signature mark on their victims, a chilling symbol etched into their flesh with cold precision. With each gruesome discovery, the Shadowed Pursuit became bolder, taunting the police with cryptic messages left at the crime scenes. The town's once comforting ambience turned suffocating, and residents barricaded themselves behind locked doors as darkness fell. As the investigation intensified, Detective Turner was forced to confront the dark corners of his own psyche, haunted by a tragic loss from his past. Determined to unravel the enigma behind the Shadowed Pursuit, he delved into the abyss of the killer's twisted mind, studying the cryptic messages for clues. One gloomy night, a storm howled through Ravenbrook, casting eerie shadows that danced along the deserted streets. A witness came forward, trembling with fear, recounting a chilling encounter. A dark figure had stalked them from the shadows, their malevolent eyes gleaming in the darkness. The townspeople now feared venturing outside, unsure who among them could be the next target. Detective Turner's pursuit of the killer led him into a labyrinth of secrets and lies. Suspects emerged from the shadows, casting doubt on the innocence of those once trusted. He tirelessly questioned each lead, determined to stop the madness that gripped Ravenbrook. The investigation took a toll on the entire town, its once tightly knit community unraveling under the weight of fear and suspicion. In the midst of chaos, Detective Turner found an unexpected ally in Jane, a brave journalist determined to uncover the truth. Together, they discovered a haunting pattern that connected the victims, a shared past that ran deep and held dark secrets. As the puzzle pieces fell into place, they found themselves entangled in the twisted web of the shadowed pursuit. The serial killer's trail grew colder, as if they could anticipate every move the investigators made. It became evident that the shadowed pursuit was always one step ahead, watching from the shadows, playing a dangerous game with those pursuing them. The climax neared as the night of Halloween approached. It seemed the killer was saving their most horrifying act for this ominous night. The town's dread intensified, wondering who would be their macabre offering to the malevolent entity stalking their streets. As the final confrontation loomed, Detective Turner faced his darkest fears and summoned every ounce of strength to protect the town and unmask the killer's true identity. The revelation would be more shocking than anyone could have imagined, shaking Brook to its core. In a harrowing showdown that would decide the fate of the town, the shadowed pursuit's reign of terror would meet its ultimate reckoning. The night was filled with suspense, tension, and an eerie stillness as the moonlight painted the streets in silver. Brook would never be the same again, scarred by the horrors that had unfolded in its midst. The shadows that once concealed the darkness now seemed to whisper the tale of the sinister figure forever etched into the town's history. And so the story of the shadowed pursuit would echo through time, serving as a grim reminder that evil could lurk anywhere, even in the most unsuspecting of places, and that in the face of darkness, true courage was the only light that could prevail. In the small, unsuspecting town of Ravenwood, nestled deep within the heart of America, a shadow lurked in the darkest corners. For years, the townspeople had whispered in hushed tones about the legend of the Ravenwood Reaper, a serial killer who struck fear into the hearts of all who dared utter his name. No one knew who he was or where he came from, but the Reaper's reign of terror had left a chilling mark on the town. Every month, like clockwork, a new victim would be found, their lifeless body bearing the haunting signature of the Reaper, a raven-shaped tattoo etched on their forehead. Detective Alex Turner was determined to catch the elusive killer. He had seen crime scenes that would make even the bravest shudder, but the Ravenwood Reaper's work was beyond gruesome. Each victim was carefully chosen, seemingly random, yet there was a method to his madness that kept the town paralyzed with fear. One dark and stormy night, as rain lashed against the windows of the police station, a break in the case finally came. A survivor emerged, the first to have seen the Reaper's face and lived to tell the tale. Her eyes were wide with terror as she described a figure draped in a tattered black cloak, his face obscured by a porcelain mask adorned with a chilling grin. As Detective Turner delved deeper into the survivor's account, he uncovered a disturbing pattern. The Reaper seemed to have a fascination with ravens. Black feathers were left at each crime scene as if to taunt the authorities. Clues were scattered, but they led nowhere. The town became a ghost town at night, as the residents locked themselves indoors, fearing that the Reaper would strike again. With each passing day, the darkness grew deeper, and the weight of the unsolved mystery hung heavy on Turner's shoulders. One night, Turner was called to the scene of the latest murder. As he arrived, the air felt different, and eerie silence had fallen over the usually bustling town. Inside the mansion's decaying walls, Turner's heart pounded in his chest. The silence was deafening. He felt the chilling presence of someone watching him, lurking in the shadows. His flashlight flickered as he climbed the creaky staircase to the upper floor. Then, in the dim light, he saw a figure standing in the hallway, the raven-shaped mask staring back at him. The Reaper had been waiting for him. Fear paralyzed Turner for a moment, but he knew he had to act fast. Gun drawn, he pursued the cloaked figure, their footsteps echoing through the mansion. But the Reaper was quick, darting through secret passages and hidden doors, always one step ahead. Turner felt as if the house itself was conspiring against him, as if the Reaper had become one with the darkness. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the chase led them to the mansion's dusty attic. The Reaper turned to face Turner, the porcelain mask reflecting the detective's terror-stricken expression. The cold, soulless eyes behind the mask seemed to pierce through him. In that tense moment, Turner remembered the survivor's words. There was something familiar about the Reaper's fascination with ravens. And then it hit him like a bolt of lightning, his grandfather's old journals. As a child, Turner had read about a series of unsolved murders that haunted Ravenwood decades ago, a killer known as the Ravenwood Ripper, who also left black feathers at his crime scenes. The similarities were too striking to be coincidental. With newfound determination, Turner lunged at the Reaper, overpowering him in a desperate struggle. The porcelain mask fell, revealing the face of an elderly man, the same face he had seen in his grandfather's old photo albums. In the end, the legend of the Ravenwood Reaper was shattered, but the scars it left on the town and its people would never fade. Detective Turner had faced the darkness head-on and had come out alive, but he knew that evil could take on many forms and could lie dormant, waiting to resurface in the shadows. Ravenwood would forever be haunted by the chilling tale of the serial killer who had once roamed its streets, a reminder that darkness can hide behind even the most familiar faces. And so the town remained cautious, never knowing when the raven's ominous caw would break the silence once again. The sleepy town of Bledensboro, nestled deep within the heart of North Carolina, had always been a serene and tranquil place. It was a place where neighbors greeted each other with warm smiles, and the only thing that broke the silence of the night was the distant chirping of crickets. But that peace was about to be shattered, as a malevolent presence lurked in the shadows, instilling fear and terror into the hearts of the town's residents. It was a chilly October evening when the first reports of a strange creature emerged. A few local farmers claimed that their livestock had been brutally slaughtered, their bodies mangled in a way that seemed unnatural. Rumors began to spread like wildfire, and soon everyone was talking about the beast of Bledensboro. At first, many dismissed the stories as mere superstitions, attributing the livestock deaths to wild animals or even pranksters. But as the weeks passed, the incidents became more frequent and the evidence more compelling. The town was gripped by fear, and an air of paranoia settled over the once harmonious community. One night, as the full moon cast an eerie glow upon the town, a group of friends decided to venture into the woods, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. Among them were Jake, a bold and adventurous young man, Sarah, his adventurous girlfriend, Brian, the town's skeptical sheriff, and Emily, a budding journalist determined to uncover the truth. As they delved deeper into the dark and foreboding forest, the atmosphere grew heavy, and the woods seemed to close in on them. A sense of unease settled upon the group, and the rustling of leaves in the wind sent shivers down their spines. Suddenly, a blood-curdling howl pierced the stillness of the night. The group froze in terror, their eyes darting in all directions, trying to discern the source of the chilling sound. But before they could react, a massive shadow emerged from the darkness, towering over the trees. It was a grotesque creature, half beast, half man, with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the soul. Brian, the sheriff, instinctively reached for his gun, but the sight of the creature left him paralyzed with fear. The beast let out another spine-chilling howl before darting into the forest, disappearing without a trace. The group was left trembling, their hearts pounding in their chests. The encounter only fueled their determination to uncover the truth about the mysterious creature. Emily, the journalist, intensified her investigation, poring over old records and interviewing eyewitnesses from past incidents. She soon discovered that tales of the beast dated back decades, passed down through generations like a macabre folklore. The stories spoke of a vengeful spirit, a creature cursed to wander the woods seeking retribution for an ancient injustice. Some believed it to be the spirit of a lumberjack who had been wronged and murdered in the woods long ago, while others thought it was the malevolent manifestation of all the town's hidden sins. As the group continued their investigation, the beast's wrath seemed to escalate. Panic spread like wildfire, and many residents refused to leave their homes after nightfall. The town's once thriving businesses dwindled as fear gripped the community. Bledensboro became a ghost town by day and a nightmare by night. Despite the danger, Emily's determination to reveal the truth pushed her forward. She tracked down old photographs, newspaper clippings, and even spoke to a few elderly town members who recalled spine-chilling encounters with the creature in their youth. The more she uncovered, the more it seemed that the beast of Bladenborough was not just a figment of imagination, but a chilling reality that had plagued the town for years. Desperation led the townspeople to seek help from outside sources. Paranormal investigators, cryptozoologists, and even monster hunters flocked to Bladenborough, each hoping to capture the elusive beast and claim fame and fortune. However, the creature remained cunning and elusive, slipping through their fingers like a wisp of smoke. As winter approached, the town was on the brink of collapse. Fear and paranoia tore at the fabric of the once close-knit community. Families packed their belongings and fled, leaving behind their homes and memories. Bladenborough was becoming a ghost town, abandoned by those who had once called it home. But Emily refused to give up. She believed that the key to ending the curse and driving away the beast lay in unraveling the creature's tragic past. With the help of the few remaining townspeople, she conducted a ritual summoning the spirit of the wronged lumberjack. In a chilling and heart-wrenching encounter, the spirit revealed his tale of betrayal and murder. He had been deceived by those he had considered friends and left to die alone in the woods, cursing the town with his last breath. The truth sent shivers down Emily's spine, but she knew that confronting the dark past was the only way to free the town from its torment. Armed with the knowledge of the creature's origin, Emily led a small group into the woods one final time, determined to break the curse. As they approached the creature's lair, they found themselves face to face with the beast, its eyes burning with anger and sorrow. Emily stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute, and addressed the lumberjack's spirit. She pleaded for forgiveness on behalf of the town, acknowledging the sins of the past and the need for redemption. In a heart-rending moment, the spirit's rage seemed to waver, and a profound sadness washed over the creature. With a final howl that echoed through the forest, the beast vanished, leaving behind only silence and a lingering sense of sorrow. Bladenborough was finally free from the curse that had haunted it for generations. In the years that followed, the town slowly began to heal. People returned, and new life breathed into the once abandoned streets. The memory of the beast of Bladenborough became a distant legend, a tale shared around campfires to scare children during Halloween. But for Emily, Jake, Sarah, and Brian, the memory of that harrowing night never faded. They knew that the beast had not been just a mindless monster, but a reflection of the darkness that could take root in any community. It was a reminder that the past should not be forgotten, and that the sins of the past could haunt the present. And so, as the town of Bladenborough moved forward, its residents vowed never to let the darkness return. They learned from the mistakes of the past and united in their commitment to cherish their community, protect their fellow townsfolk, and ensure that the beast of Bladenborough remained nothing more than a chilling memory of a bygone era. Once upon a time, in the small town of Bladenborough, nestled deep within the woods, a terrifying legend lurked in the shadows. The tale of the beast of Bladenborough had been whispered among the townspeople for generations, a dark story that sent shivers down their spines and kept children close to their parents' sides at night. It all began on a moonless night when an eerie fog rolled into town, blanketing the streets with an unsettling aura. The air became thick and suffocating, as if some malevolent force had descended upon the town, unseen but palpable. That night, strange sounds echoed through the streets, sinister growls, bone-chilling howls, and the pitter-patter of an unknown creature's claws. The following day, when the first light of dawn pierced the fog, the townspeople woke to a horrific sight. Several farm animals lay slaughtered, their lifeless bodies bearing the marks of brutal claws and fangs. Panic spread like wildfire as news of the mysterious killings spread throughout Bladenborough. Fearful whispers spoke of a creature that was no mere predator but a monstrous entity that fed on fear itself. A local hunter, known for his bravery and keen sense, ventured into the woods to investigate the grisly scene. What he encountered, however, left him a changed man forever. Through the thick foliage, he caught a glimpse of a creature unlike any he had ever seen, a massive, hulking beast with glowing red eyes that seemed to burn with malevolence. The hunter barely escaped with his life, haunted by the nightmarish visage he had witnessed. As the sun set once more, the town plunged into darkness and the streets became deserted. Doors were locked, windows shuttered, and the townspeople trembled in their homes. The beast had awakened, and with it, an unyielding terror that gripped the hearts of all. With each passing night, the creature grew bolder, venturing closer to the heart of Bladenborough. The sinister howls became more frequent, a constant reminder that the creature's malevolence was ever present. In a desperate attempt to rid themselves of this monstrous nightmare, the town called upon renowned monster hunters and paranormal investigators from neighboring regions. Armed with silver bullets and ancient talismans, the brave souls ventured into the heart of the cursed woods, determined to vanquish the beast and free Bladenborough from its reign of terror. But the forest proved to be a labyrinth of darkness, and the hunters faced countless horrors lurking in the shadows. Some disappeared without a trace, swallowed by the malevolent force that had plagued the town for so long. The few who returned spoke of a malevolent spirit guarding the beast, as if some ancient curse had bound them together. As the hunt for the beast intensified, the town's fear transformed into despair. Families packed their belongings, abandoning the homes they had cherished for generations. Bladenborough became a ghost town, a haunting reminder of the evil that had driven its inhabitants away. In the years that followed, the legend of the Beast of Bladenborough was passed down through the ages, etched into the town's history as a tale of caution and terror. The woods surrounding the deserted town remained a forbidden place, and travelers steered clear, unwilling to tempt the wrath of the malevolent creature that still roamed in the shadows. To this day, the legend lives on, and every now and then, a chilling howl can still be heard on the outskirts of Bladenborough. Some say the beast is merely waiting, biding its time for a chance to strike again. Others believe it has been sealed away, imprisoned by forces beyond our comprehension. But the truth remains hidden, lost in the depths of the cursed woods, where darkness and fear reign supreme. And so the legend of the Beast of Bladenborough endures, a haunting reminder that some terrors are best left undisturbed, lurking in the forgotten corners of our nightmares.